Yeah, so what we're seeing is that we are living in this time right now where, you know, there is women's have this vital role to play in this time we are living, okay? And it's important that women are empowered, whether it is by support from others or work on yourself. But certainly the support we always need, whether the support comes from men or come from other women or whatever, and nobody can make it alone. We are all dependent or interdependent on each other. But this is also key in organizations these days. It's key everywhere. And you really start feeling it once you start, once you want to move things, you know, the power sits quite tight also in power centers. It's not always easy to get into there, so there are glass ceilings for sure. But things are changing, and men have a vital role in this process too. And I think also, as we talked about in Japan, how many men are working absolutely all the time, and how a little bit of gender balance actually allows for them to work less. And that's what you heard in the UN campaign too. It's about making it a more society where men can be men and women can be women. So, all that. But there is also a very strong need, and that's at least how I work and many of the women that are around me. We're also seeing it's not only women and men, it's also a paradigm that we need to have right now in the world that is about more sustainability, more of the feminine values of caring and sharing, and perhaps a little bit of resilience where we're taking care of things instead of just economies of growth and grow. You know? There is another way of looking at that, and I think that is also emerging in this time. So it's not only he for she, but it's also now he and she for a more feminine, and I'm not talking feministic, but this integral way. I think it's extremely important. Yes, and how can we change this? Exactly like Margaret Mead said many years ago. It can start with one person and it can become a group. And now the He for She campaign is in many schools and many places it's growing. So we grow as a group, and at the same time you have to work on yourself. And I'll come back to that. Can you go to the next slide, please? And next one. And I saw on the back of your brochure you had some statistics, and I've added a few more. Can I look at that? And here you say, when women participate in public life, government corruption declines. The World Economic Forum also saw this, that when you have more women in decision-making power, the entire competitiveness of those countries are improving. And the Financial Times showed the result from the study of the best place to work. Have you heard of that study, best place to work?
Yes.
It's a study, and it shows that the companies where women and men liked the most to work for were companies that had a better gender balance. But it wasn't so that women said, oh, I prefer to work for this company. No, both women and men prefer to work for those companies. So that's another reason why we need to have more women. And as we see, there are more and more women studying in different universities. Next slide, please. And you know, there's just many good arguments now, and we see also women are studying more, and so the companies that want to have talent, they need to look this way, and I think they're doing that more and more. So just as the thing with the government and corruption declines, also poverty can decline if you have more women in decision-making power, according to the World Food and Agriculture Organization of the UN. So, and this is not a competition. It's not, oh, they're better than the men. It's just about, like, I think when we have more balance, it helps. And 2 days ago, on Thursday, I was in a meeting with a big oil company. And this big oil company, they have very male environments out on platforms, etc. And it shows that once they put a few more women there, the environment, the conversations improve. And a lot of the men enjoy that too. Because in a very, so I think we go back to this. This is a benefit for everyone. Let's take another slide, please. So there's also some, I mean, you are doing your master program, and there's also now, we see in the leadership, as we talked about, from hierarchy we go more to collaboration, and you see it's about doing, but it's also about being, because you want to have good energy, you know. So if you look at the feminine and the masculine, now it's changing and it's becoming part of everyday way of operating. Again, it depends where in the world you are. Still in Korea, there's more hierarchical than in Sweden, I can tell you. But things are still changing, and as global leaders, you need to understand how it is in Korea and how it is in Denmark. You know, that's the best. And it's tough learning, but it's good, and it becomes interesting. So I think that's very, very important. You have cross-cultural studies, so this is that, and that's the thing. You know? We need to be adaptable. Okay, next slide, please. I'm skipping some of this. Take the next one. So one of the things I wanted to share with you, which is the philosophy of win and how we can together do the he for she or the she for he too. Because ladies, it's also sometimes the she for he in certain cases, and I think it was a good point there that he is first. And I think that comes from the assumption of corporate board and the companies. I don't know, it's interesting actually. It's a good point. He for she.
Well, the UN is run by a male, so.
Yeah. It's true. And it's interesting. But sometimes it's she for he too. So there are certain environments that are very, very, you know, to translate certain things. So, but I think that I want to talk about this. How can we work together? You know, whether we are in politics or whether we are in companies and running hotels or events or, you know, whatever you guys will do. And if you're going to do that in a way where, ideally, without legislation, ideally, because we know that we are good and we know that someone else is good, then I think it's very important that we work in this collaborative way, and we can start having networks. So I want to share with you a little bit about that before we go into the panel. So at WIM, in this feminine system, we talk about a network is ideally a nurturing place, you know, where you can count on people. So it's not a political organization where you're only competing, but it's a place you are collaborating. Okay, so this is I'm sharing with you this feminine. And when you are collectively creating a network, it means you're individually, we are networking with each other. And how do we do that? As global leaders, as aware of feminine and masculine principles type leaders, and leaders who want to be as authentic as possible for the future. Well, we learn that by being quite open. We talk what's stimulating our mind, but also what warms our heart and what we feel excited about. So it's authentic. Next slide, please. I think just because of the time. So I want to share with you that what is key in this event is that we try to find common purpose. So I know that the men and the women are thinking differently, but what do we have in common? So I think this is always back to, we don't need legislation, but we can look at what do we have in common. And this way we can improve things. So in this network economy, or this network way of working, what do we have in common? And also always find common ground. So this way, it's not a competitive way, but it is the purpose way. So what do we have in common? And also in this case, sometimes you get clear about your purpose as well. And it's about, actually, I want to take this thing, it's about taking responsibility. It's as leaders, and Franco, you mentioned this in the very beginning, this thing of Bill Gates said it, or whoever said it, is about responsibility too. Because if you know and you have more than the others, it's your responsibility to be generous in finding common purpose with people. And it's important to remember constantly, every day. You know? And I think the most successful people know that. You know, how can I do to share? What can I do? You know? So next slide, please. And then also, we are in this world where I think it's about working hard, and we all need to work hard. But it's also something I see working with a lot of women, and I don't know about the men, but a lot of women at least, is also sometimes there is a lot of burnout out there too. There are too good girls, too good schoolgirls, so to speak, and it continues. So we're also looking at what can we do also to help each other, making sure we are in constant sort of doing what is good for us, what lights us up, what gives us joy, and it's the same for women. But how can I help? And again, be generous in making sure I do that to other people. So when I see if you look very excited about something, I let her talk more about that. Maybe I should help her do something with that, And the same for everyone. So this is what we call the purpose, and then we have a pleasure principle, or the joy principle in being people. Next slide. And when you are creating, we have networks now, a lot of networks. In companies we work with have networks, we have network. And in the HeForShe, there are important now, how can I get into the network? There is a saying, everyone talks about the old boys club. How can you get into the old boys club? How can you get into the old boy club? At EPFL, how do you get in, So this is the glass ceiling. But let's say, okay, let's create our own network, But should that network be only for women, if you're a woman, or should I include both women and men? Why do I want a network? And how can I move from just chat to actually a common purpose? We want to create this event today. So you start a committee, you start a network. We want to expand it. So we create a purpose. We do things together. That's common purpose. And that's a way also to avoid things that are not transparent. So I think that's why. And if you start, like when you guys started the HeForShe here, there were, who were you? You said you were a little cynical in the beginning, But I'm sure with the other people saying, hey, this is good, then you're less and less cynical, and it is a good thing. So that's why we always need to have sustainers, believers, and champions around us who can say, go, it's good. But what is challenging, and I'm sure you already know and you feel it often when you are in mixed environments, where let's say you belong to a boys club of only men, and then suddenly there are a couple of women there. It feels strange. The 2 women amongst the 60 guys, they feel uncomfortable a little bit. And so, but this is now part of these new sensibilities and the new things, and we need to learn how to deal with it. And ideally, get in a few more women there, so it's not so uncomfortable. And being in these networks, you have to nurture, you have to be aware and think about putting different people in together. Because that's how you can grow the fastest and how we can evolve. Next slide, please. So that was about the network. But now when you are going out there and you are being a global leader that's responsible, who knows that the world needs women and men, and you yourself want to be a good, what we call a networker, but a good responsible leader also. First way to success is to really be very open and to work on yourself on that constantly. On when you judge, there's always a lot of people saying, and 3,000 books out there saying, don't judge. It's very difficult. I will just say, learn to catch yourself when you're judging. And then try to not judge as often as you can. And with practice, it will be easier and easier. But it's so important life job to become aware of your thought process and your biases and your unconscious biases. If you have a chance to do training on that, and do they have training on unconscious bias? No. But anyway, whenever you learn it, go and learn it if you don't know it. Because this is what so much going on that we say, I'm open to all men, or I'm open to all women. And maybe not, maybe there are times you think, oh, that idiot, or she's too weak, or whatever it is, then you catch yourself in that, and you challenge yourself. I'm not sure, maybe he's not so bad, maybe it's just his way, or maybe she's not, whatever she is. So this is very, very important. So be open and learn to become aware of your thought process, meditate, whatever you need to do, but it's crucial. And then from there you can also connect much more transparently, because And we be ready to connect at all levels, share with people, find a common purpose. With the women, with the men. And I know in certain cultures it's more divided, the women there and the men there, but still there should be ways to talk there too. And be quick to contribute, you know, so if you see someone being discriminated, speak up, make action, you know, don't let it happen, so that we need to go and make laws and blah, 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 you know. You can do something before. And take some risk, because here is a lot of, even women don't always speak up on behalf of other women, especially when they're in minority. So it's about taking risk here. I think, or Emma Watson, who spoke up, she took quite a risk, but look, there were millions and millions of people who watched her. Okay, she got some terrible letters too, but you know, it was worth it. Look what happened, it's amazing. So take risk. And then commit, you know, always be someone who commits. Do something. I mean, I've seen at the conferences we do, I've seen lots of very, very successful people. And I think what they all have in common, they have one big thing in common, whether they're from Japan or Dubai, or wherever they come from. They're people that commit. They commit and they do, and they are clear about it. And that's an incredibly important quality. And at the same time, if you are committed to something that you see is not acceptable, something is going on, like discrimination, like overhearing someone, then you don't accept it. It's extremely important. And you men there, if you see something doesn't work, you speak up. That's he for she. And the women don't feel, oh, I can't do it. No, you can speak up. And if you do all of that, it can be light and we can have joy. And then there's magic. There's so many wonderful things that can happen that we can do together. Globally, from different countries, women and men, different ages. And yeah. I think that's, maybe I have one more slide. Yeah, that was just a kind of advertisement to our big conference that's coming up in Rome in September. But do I have more time or? A little more. Yeah, a little more. So, then maybe we can go back to the other slide then. Okay, thank you. Yeah, all right. It's not. So I think it would be great if you can talk to the person sitting next to you a little more about this. What is he for she, and what do you think can happen to you in your life where you think you can do something? Maybe you can talk a smaller. You want to share anything?
Well, not so much, but yes, a lot of things.
No, it's too long. Okay, so thank you, Kristin, for pointing me. I think it's really good to make all these campaigns, but I think from the moment we can actually start stopping inequality in all sense is when we treat everybody as humans. So from the moment we make differentials between a man and a woman, or if you are from Europe, you are from Asia, you are from the moment we start to make that differences when we start to create that inequality. So if we want to actually stop that inequality, we need to treat everybody as a human being. As simple as that. It's quite simple, it's really difficult to apply, because it's also part of our history, it's part of evolution and many things that are involved in this. But from the moment you want to treat somebody as a human being and not as a man, as a woman, or as somebody from Africa or whatever, then it's when, from Africa, from Europe, from Asia, from South America, then is when you start to stop inequality. But when we start to differentiate between you're a man and you're a woman, and he for she, or she for he, and as Sharon say, we are the ones who need to take it. I don't think it's he needs to do or she needs to do. We all need to do together.
But this is not about making a difference between men and women. It's about creating awareness, because as it is now in the workplace, it's not. It is, people are unfortunately not treating people as humans, regardless if they're men or women. There is a big, people are treating employees differently depending on their women and men, and therefore the awareness needs to be created. And but I agree, it shouldn't be. That's my personal opinion, and mostly about he for she is that I want to be listened to for what I'm saying and not for being a woman or being a man. Yeah. But it's not I mean, I wish it was as simple as, and that's like the goal in the future, that everyone should just treat people from how they are instead of what they are or where they're from. But yeah.
But I have a question. Is it like all of this? I'm very pro this HeForShe and your event. I mean, everything is great, but is it really helping and truly helping developing countries and third world countries? Because they're the country like where women are actually more touched than. I mean, for us, I mean, I'm French and also from Senegal, but in France, there's 20% of wage difference between women and men, which is a lot. But if you look at other, like for example in Senegal, then it's the difference actually 70 or 80%. So are we all like really helping only developed country, or also are we making a difference in these like poor countries? Because it seems that only famous people and rich students are doing all these steps, but it's what my mom said when I posted my picture on Facebook of me with this like seeing HeForShe. She said like, yes, okay, but it's only among like between us guys. I'm not sure it's really gonna help this lady in Asia or this like poor girl in Africa or in South America. It feels to me that it's only like just rich people and developed people or whatever. Like I'm not sure it's really going there.
Just comment on that. Having been in the field for a while, I think that if we can see that you're resourceful in this room, and I like to talk and win that other people go out of there, they leave as an agent of possibility. So once you have resources and you see things that others don't see as a leader, your role is to make those possibilities for others, which could be that then you need to take a trip to Senegal and work so we can exchange. You know, there's something we can learn from there, but your responsibility will reach out of France, it will reach further. And it's true that right now there are a lot of Hollywood stars and, you know, talking about the topic. Every day there is some Oscar-winning actress who is talking about the pay gap. And, but they wouldn't have done it if it hadn't been for a lot of activists behind the scene who's done this work since the 60s, let's say, so that have paved the way. But a great thing about the Hollywood stars talking about it now is that it does get media attention, it got more people talking about it. I think something good comes out of it, and hopefully it spreads also. But it needs to go into our human level, because once it touches our heart, once we know that it's not about the media, it's about all of us having a better chance in life. And that's why, yeah, forget about the hype. Just stay connected and go out there. And meanwhile, this hype can get us hopefully somewhere too. I hope. Yeah. I think maybe one more comment, maybe
I just want we mentioned a lot of HeForShe in the workplace tonight, but we didn't mention it at home.
Yeah.
And I think it's also very important to think that men and women should also be equal when it's time to be together in families, because it should not be to the task of the women to do everything, to cook, to clean, and that should be like separate and equally divided. So that as well should be very important to mention.
I think it's crucial, otherwise it will not work, because then the woman gets too tired. So we have a very so I think my time is up, but I think one of the things I'll leave you with is just in all this work, do remember we are part of a big human family and that we need each other. And also, as we are doing this work, because we need to give attention. In so many countries, women don't even have education. You know, where boys go to school and girls don't, perhaps. So, and still, that we try not to warfare. You know, we need to fight, but also, sort of find a way to fight for, and so we don't go into complete war and hate each other. So this is our challenge, like how to stand firm, set boundaries for what's right, speak up, and hear the others. So I think that's very, very important. Because sometimes there's anger there too, you know, like women are angry because they haven't got the same salary, you know, it's natural, we can believe it. So hear that anger, don't hit back, just hear it. And it comes down, and okay, let's fix this and give everyone the same salary. Okay, thank you very much.
So you have heard of her or seen her already, I hope so. And she holds an MBA in International Management from Leiden University, and she's actually back to school at the moment, trying to, or hopefully accomplishing her doctoral research in implicit bias on organization behavior. And I think there is a little bit of a passion there, because she's very passionate around leadership, communication, people, talent development, workforce innovation, effectiveness. So I think there is a lot of activity going on.
Next we have the Ambassador Keith Harper, representing the United States and the United Nations Human Rights. He was elected by Obama in 2014, and we are very honored to have him here. Currently he's stationed in Geneva, and Mr. Harper was, before this career, was a lawyer and a partner in a law firm, and is the first Native American participation in this honorable ambassador position. Third, we have Graziella Zanoletti, which comes, repeat, Zanoletti. So I don't speak very good Italian or have any Italian pronunciation. I'm from Germany, by the way. Ms. Zanoletti, founder and CEO of Office Elite Rent-A-Car. Maybe some of you have heard of it. It's a very elite car rental service where you can rent cars which you probably can't rent at 6 euro cars, so it's a different price class and a different prestige class. So I hope if you finish the school, you someday can rent a good place. But she's also very interested in different parts. So she's not only a very tough businesswoman, but she's also very keen about yoga, about teaching, sailing. So I think she has a lot of angles and facets, which we hopefully going to hear tonight, different angles from the speakers. And then last but not least, which we haven't met today, is Mr. Sacha Sidjanski. He is a project manager at the School of Life Science in Lausanne, so right next door. Which is home for 4 institutions: the Brain Institution, the Mind Institution, Swiss Institution for Experimental Cancer Research, and Institution of Bioengineering and the Global Health Institution. But Mr. Sidjanski, not only being a normal scientist, I think a scientist and a researcher with a big heart, as he's traveled the world and also developing different strategies, different, medicine more affordable for third world countries, which I think is very honorable. And then we already met Mrs. Kristin Engvig, which got a very light and very nice introduction. And I personally would like to thank you for this very positive attitude bringing here. And I would like to ask everybody to be very open and not focus too much on facts, but also focus on your heart. I think it's a very personal discussion tonight. Quickly, I would like to introduce myself. My name is Helena. I am a student in Glion. I'm from Germany, as I said, and I got the honor to moderate this panel tonight. And I hope we're going to have a very colorful and different discussion for tonight. And at the end, you're also invited to have some questions, some inputs. Very appreciated. So when I got this job, let's say it like this, I had to come up with some questions. And so first of all, I asked myself the same question we already got asked before: what is he for she for me? And I just want to say that he for she for me was more like a balanced approach to feminism. Feminism became very negative, and now I'm borrowing the words of Emma Watson. It became man-hating, and I think he for she picked it up again to make it more light and doesn't force women to compensate men's strengths and the other way around. So I thought, okay, where to start? This is a really big topic. Like, where are we looking at? Where can we start? And I think let's always start at the beginning. and what is the beginning. And Ms. Engvig talked about culture and talked about companies, and in Glion we talk a lot about company culture. I mean, first semester, third semester, I think you all can remember the nice picture of the iceberg. So we're thinking about family culture in the company, but actually everybody comes from a family who has some sort of, I would like to call it a family culture. So I would like to make a quote from the Universal Declaration of Human Rights, which states in the first article that all humans are free and equal in dignity and rights. This sounds like a very wonderful mission and goal, but as we are having this discussion today, we haven't reached that goal yet, but to be. So I would like to start at the basic, at the origin, at maybe the family, and have two questions I would like to ask. What do you think lays the origin of unequal thinking and acting in people? And if I can go one step further, it might be a bit harsh, how do we educate reflection in a very stereotyped and partially traditional society, which might not even be aware of the dogmas? I mean, we grow up in a family, and you do things because your parents did them, and your grandparents, and they influence your actions, but what can we do about it? Where does it come from? Does it come from there? Is it a different influence? And I would like to ask Sacha first, if that is not the scientist giving us some